Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast with your host, Cody Janssen.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 3 of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, brought to you by CST Tires. We're recording this following some intense racing at Unadilla, heading into RedBud next, and that should be a pivotal point in this championship for all the ATV motocross classes. So we'll get into that, but before we go any further, I want to thank our sponsors here for the show. Without them, none of this would be possible. Our title sponsor, CST Tires, CSTTires.com, the Pulse MXR tire, the best tire on the market. Thanks to those guys, and I suggest the soft compound white label rear tire, and the front tire is fantastic as well, so thanks to those guys. Also thanks to DID Racing Chain and their 520 ATV2 X-Ring chain. They bring us our featured guest each week. Thanks to those guys. Thank you to Evans Waterless Power Sports Coolant, DP Brakes, 100% goggles, and their new Armega goggle. And we picked up a couple of new sponsors since the previous show. Oats Overnight. Thanks to those guys for coming on board. Life is hard. Make breakfast easy. Simply combine with milk before bed and enjoy your to-go breakfast in the morning. Overnight oatmeal loaded with superfoods, perfect for athletes. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP10 to save at checkout. OatsOvernight.com. Thanks to those guys for coming on. And we're also happy to announce that Forworks Carbon has came on board to support the growth of our podcast. The Forworks name is synonymous with unrivaled quality and constant innovation. They may be known for their carbon parts and seat covers, but they have so much more to offer. It's an honor to partner with another top-tier brand like Forworks. Check those guys out today, and thanks to them for coming on board. And most of all, a man and a brand that we've talked about on this show. Thanks to Ian Harris and SSI Decals for coming on board in a major way. Ian and SSI Decals has supported me through thick and thin, and now he's supporting my podcast, and I'm just so grateful. And that leads me right into our big news about the upcoming live show. SSI Decals support has played a huge role in making the live show happen, and because of that, we've named SSI Decals the presenting sponsor. The Digging Deep ATVMX podcast live show presented by SSI Decals will be Friday evening, July 19th, right inside my pits at RedBud at 6 o'clock sharp. Featuring all members of the Team USA ATVMX team, come and join Chad Weenan, Thomas Brown, Joel Hetrick, Jeffrey Rastrelli, and myself. A sit-down conversation with the top riders in our sport is rare, so you're not going to want to miss this. Come and see the show live in person at the track, watch live on Facebook, or enjoy it in its entirety as a podcast after the weekend. I owe a huge thank you to those 4 riders for giving us their time. Different combinations of the 4 have represented us and achieved back-to-back Quad Cross of Nations championships. They'll sit down with us before they go for the three-peat this season. So again, thanks to SSI Decals for their support of the show and the live show. And thanks to all of our sponsors. Support the brands that support us. Okay, so let's dive right into the Evans Coolant Sight Lap segment. On tonight's show, we'll talk all things Unadilla. We'll take a look forward to this upcoming weekend at RedBud. And 5-time national champion Logan Stanfield will join the show following a Pro-Am podium at Unadilla. So joining us once again to talk about the racing at Unadilla is former AMA ATV Pro Rookie of the Year and multi-time Pro-Am national event winner, Tyler Hamrick. Let's welcome back Tyler Hamrick to the show. What's going on, buddy? Thanks for coming back.
Da-da-da-da. Not much, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Ready to talk some moto. I'm always down to talk some ATV motocross.
All right, man. Yeah, so let's talk some Unadilla. Crazy racing. First moto, Joel rips the whole shot, runs away. And like we had talked about on the previous episode, he's always so tough to beat up at that racetrack that you knew he was gonna be tough there, and that track just seems to suit him, super well.
Yeah. Don't want to give him a start there.
No, that's gonna be tough. And Chad started about 5th, And Unadilla isn't an easy track to pass on. We kind of covered that last time as well. So I knew his inevitable charge to the front was going to be fun to watch, and that's kind of where I found my focus. Brandon Hogue, he started second in the first moto there and kind of got freight trained, for a lap or two.
Yeah, he had some guys behind him.
Yeah, so he went back to fifth and then hung tough the rest of the moto, even put pressure on Jeffrey. So he looked the part of a top 5 guy there in that first moto. And so as the moto goes on, Chad gets all the way up to Thomas, who's having a great race. Thomas was riding really well. And Chad made a killer pass on him, set him up around the apple tree corner there, and kind of like slingshotted and went outside in and made a really nice move on Thomas. So he moved into second. And meanwhile, Joel is way out front. And, I don't even think anybody was paying attention anymore so late in the moto. And something happened to his machine. The quad actually, shut off or something. He had to push it to the finish.
Yeah, wild. That was crazy. It's crazy you say that. I was watching it live on Instagram, and at the end of the video, Brandy Cottage said, "Oh, Joel didn't cross the finish line," and the video cut out. So I had to jump back to quad radio and listen to the live announcer, and there's 2 minutes where you didn't know if he got the win or not, and I was just like, "Oh my God, he was killing him," and then that happens. But that was cool that he still got the W.
He's had some tough luck with mechanical stuff this year. And like I said, there was nothing weird going on with the bike, at least not that you could hear or see. It didn't look like he was slowing down like the last couple laps, the last lap, nothing like that. And then when I saw the replay, he's going up that last hill, and you could tell it's slowing down a little bit. And that's a big hill at Unadilla. So he makes it up the hill. He's getting close to the finish line. He hops off, he pushes it. And he does not cross the crest, the top of the finish line jump. He doesn't. He doesn't take the checkered flag. He just got it to
where the e-score line was.
The e-score transponder, and they ruled that was enough to get him the finish. So that was that was crazy. That was some unexpected late race drama for sure.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that to happen. I always wondered when I was going through the ranks why they put the e-score line right there and not at the actual face of the jump, but that definitely came into his advantage, that moto.
Yeah, so I've never been in that situation before. For anybody who follows the dirt bike motocross, there was a Great Outdoors movie from 2005 or something, and Mike Alessi crashed in the last corner, and he couldn't push his bike up the finish line, and he tried and tried and tried, and he's like, where's the line? Where's the line? And the flagger or the official or whatever there said, no, you have to push it across the finish line. And
really?
He didn't, and didn't get a finish. He was right at the front. He'd won the first moto or something. That's back when 4-strokes were still super hard to start. And I had never had any personal experience with it, and that happened. So my mind goes back to that. Well, earlier this season at Crawfordsville, I won the first moto. The second moto I had a comfortable lead. I was checked out, and something started going wrong with electrical on my bike, and it was breaking up the last couple laps. And the last lap, it was getting worse and worse, and my bike shut off with 2 corners to go. So I kicked it 50 times. Somehow it starts back up. I make it to the last corner. It shuts off again. And I did the same exact thing. I pushed it up the finish line. And I'm again, at Crawfordsville, that's a rhythm section. The finish line. Yeah, so I'm pushing it, and then I turn, and I'm pulling it, and I'm doing everything I can. And the scorer lady's like, you're good. I got you. I got the front of my bike just up the face of the jump enough that it scored. And Joel was doing the same thing. He hopped off that thing, but he had some momentum and pushed it as far as he had. But I was really curious to see I mean, I was listening to the radio too, thinking, man, what are they going to rule here?
Yeah.
And I saw Harv on his quad racing over to the finish line area or over by E-score. And yeah, they gave Joel the win, but that was like some unexpected drama there that, I mean, he was checked out and ended up being a super interesting finish to Moto 1.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to imagine Chad and Thomas were probably thinking they went 1 and 2 on that one.
Well, obviously, if you're the other rider, you're going to say, "Oh, he didn't cross the finish line," And I was curious. I mean, I didn't know how they were going to rule. Like I said, he didn't take the checkered flag. He just passed the transponder line. I didn't know what it was going to rule. So that was really interesting. So in Moto 1, Hetrick, Wienen, Brown, Rastrelli, Hogue. That was your top 5. And at the start of Moto 2, the drama wasn't over. I didn't know this until shortly before the finish line or before the moto started, but apparently Hetrick's quad won fire. So I don't know that he took the sight lap, but I did see images or video now after the fact of his quad like on its side, and they're working on it on the start line, like in between Chad and
the 30-second card going up,
right?
Pretty much
between Chad and Janusa, his quad is on his side.
Yeah, that's not quite a lot of things going through his mind at that point. Not the way you want to start the moto, but crazy. Like your mind's racing, but then when that happens, a lot of times it makes you race that much harder because you're like, oh, thank God I made it, like we're going to make it count. So they got the thing going in time, but that could have had something to do with his subpar start for his standards because he's always right at the front. And he came out kind of inverted from Chad. He was about 5th or, in that area, 4th or 5th. Chad grabs the whole shot, and like I said, now it's role reversal. So it's Joel makes a couple super quick moves, and it's Chad, Jeffrey, Joel early in the moto there, and Joel made a good move. He cut under Jeffrey in the corner before the down in that bowl before the hole shot there, before the long straightaway, and it just seemed like Jeffrey was riding good, but it looked like Joel could basically put that quad wherever he wanted. Like he was on lock, and that thing was working. Yeah, he wasn't going to be denied. He was trying to go to the front.
Exactly. So then we got treated to an all-out battle, just like Muddy Creek earlier in the year. Man, Joel was going through some sections so damn hot, it was mind-blowing. It looked like he was going to blow right through Chad, and I don't know that there was ever any contact. Joel was just going so fast into some sections, it was crazy. And we've been treated to a few of those battles this year, but that hasn't always been the case. Like, even though they're basically always 1-2, over the years, there hasn't been many crazy
head-to-head races.
Nah, there hasn't been many crazy battles. And, we have had a few of them this year, and that second moto, man, at Unadilla might have been the best one yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I only got to watch the recap highlights. But the stuff that I did see, it looked close. It was would have been a race I would have liked to watch in person, that's for sure.
Yeah. So Chad had the lead still late in the race, and they came out of that same corner where Joel made the pass on Jeffrey, and he was cutting down to the bottom there, but it was difficult to make it all the way over that next triple if you went to the bottom there. And I think Joel was able to, but he had that corner on lock, and they came out of that corner, and Chad like almost like hesitated and looked at him, and at that moment I knew Joel must have done something that Chad didn't like down there, or maybe it was just a race worth of moves down there, but I knew something had been done that like Chad was literally like off the gas, looked at him, and like there was attitude.
Yeah, because down that straightaway, he kind of put a little swerve on him to keep him behind him.
Sure, yeah.
And then down in the gravity cavity, Joel was like, no, this is mine now.
Yeah,
and so he swerved over on him and then got it done.
Yeah, so Joel gets to the inside of Chad there, going into gravity cavity, and same thing. Joel goes down into gravity cavity there, and he puts a little move on Chad and moves over on him. And like I said, there was attitude right back. It was intense.
Yeah, he sent it out of that gravity cavity, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was intense. I was really curious to see what was going to happen, and then I think that it got to a point where Chad's like, I even think he might have said on the podium, if he wants it that bad, he can have it, because I think Chad was comfortable. He raced hard, and I mean, if a second was what he was going to get that day, I think he was okay with it, because they were racing so damn hard.
Yeah, Joel's speed there is almost unmatched. So, taking a second at Unadilla, that's good, and still coming out with the points lead, so you can't complain about anything.
Yeah, definitely. And so, like I said, there was attitude back and forth there, and it was crazy to watch. The fans are going nuts. So Joel finishes it off. He wins the thing. He goes 1-1. Chad finishes 2-2. Thomas DNF'd. So you need to mention that, because he was really fast in Moto 1. He rode really well. And so Thomas DNF'd in Moto 2. I don't know what happened there, but that took him out of the running. And like you were starting to mention, Brandon Hogue, the rookie, he passed Jeffrey late in the race there with four laps remaining, and that earned him his first pro podium with the third overall.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I think maybe you listened to that Cody Ford podcast, and he wanted to be the next rookie on the podium. So
I'll tell you, somebody said to me that Ford getting that podium fueled Brandon Hogue like none other. And I was told that by somebody in his circle.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I bet you it fueled all the other rookies.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
It fueled me up, and I'm not even racing.
Yeah, so, I mean, just think about that. Like, Brandon was the second rookie in as many weeks to grab a podium, and man, I knew that this rookie class was going to be good, but man, like, think about it. It hasn't been done since 2011. It hasn't been done since 2011. It hasn't been done since Joel Hetrick did it. And now two rookies in back-to-back weeks grab podium finishes. And I don't know, that it was crazy.
That's good. It's good racing. That means they're just adding more to the pot, more people to get up front and start battling for spots now.
No doubt. I mean, like I said, that this rookie class just seems like it has a different look to it. Those riders, I think, they're hard workers. They're guys that like look the part of maybe the next generation of kind of top guys.
Yeah, they want it.
Yeah, so I tried to have Brandon on tonight, but apparently he couldn't fit us in his schedule. So I wanted to hear from him, because he had he had a hell of a run, and the way that so in the first moto, I was blown away because he ran with Jeffrey throughout the entire moto. Like, they were nose to tail, it seemed like, the whole moto after Jeffrey got by him. And in the second moto, it looked like the same exact race, but late in the moto with a few laps left, Brandon passed him, and I mean, that was the definition of earning a podium. He put two really good rides together. And the other thing in the second moto is he got a mid-pack start, and he still got up to that top 3 spot. It was incredible.
Yeah. When I was looking, he started that race fifth at the end of the first lap and went to third, and that's not passing no Joe Smoach.
Well, and even if you go back to prior to that, at the beginning of the first lap, if you look at the shots coming out of the first corner, he's on the very inside, and like I said, he's clearly mid-pack.
Yeah,
and
he probably swerved around that Janusa a little, maybe that pile up.
Oh, that could be. But
got around there, made a good move, but still, that's quick decisions, and I mean, first couple corners.
Oh yeah, so like I said, he came from a ways back, and he got that top 3, and it's just I'm happy for him. He's a guy that lived with me for a period of time. We helped him throughout his amateur career, and I was blown away. See, coming into the season so he won the Pro-Am championship last year. Came down to the last race. He won the championship. And then when he decided to go pro, I was almost a little scared for him because his mentality is that nobody belongs beating him. He sees, and that's how a lot of top athletes think. They don't see anybody better than them. They don't see how a person that puts on their pants the same way should beat them, whether it makes sense or not, whether it's, you're racing against the top guys in the world. He sees himself on that level. And so I was almost scared that he wasn't going to know when to back it down a little bit. And I was watching him last weekend with the same thoughts in mind, and he looked the part of a top 3 guy throughout the whole weekend, like spot on. Even in the first moto, I was really curious to see what was going to happen after he kind of got freight trained by those guys, because he had, they were fast guys, but he had a few guys get by him one by one, kind of all at once.
Derail your sails, yeah.
And man, he responded like he ran their pace, ran Jeffrey's pace the rest of the race, and he made it happen in the second moto and earned that podium. And man, that's just another. I knew that this rookie class was good, man, but I would have never thought that
two podiums,
because it hasn't happened in almost a decade,
Yeah, and the last guy to do it was Joel Hetrick, and
look where he is. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
So that was kind of the headliner. There was kind of that all the drama from did Joel Hetrick finish the first moto? His bike almost doesn't start the second moto. Then the late race, hard racing between Chad and Joel. They seemed good on the podium, like they were talking back and forth and stuff. But you had shot me a text message after the races, and what did it say again? I can't remember.
Oh, I think I said something is racing getting a little bit more dicey now because of a certain podcast, and it was just cool. Like all this stuff's happening, and it's like, who would have thought all this would have been going down? Like rookies on the podium and just everything.
Yeah,
the way it happened too.
We got stuff to talk about, definitely. And like you said, it probably has nothing to do with this podcast, but there's more, it seems like more attitude, more like, I don't know, it's racier than it seems like it's been in a long time.
Yeah, it's a lot closer too.
Yeah,
the points are close. Everyone, that whole top 5 close, and then the guys from 6th to 10th, they're all right there.
Yeah.
And like the rookies, 7th, 8th, and 9th in points.
Okay, that's
tight.
So Brandon Hogue is 7th, right?
Yeah.
Alan Myers is 8th. Cody Ford's 9th.
Ford 9th. Yep.
Yeah.
That's something to be proud of too.
Oh, definitely. I think, like I said, that rookie class, those 3 guys right there, those are 3 guys that are doing it full time. So I think that maybe that's the difference in maybe some rookies of the last handful of years, is they didn't have the luxury of being able to do it full time. And oh man, each one of them, I had a conversation with somebody earlier that Brandon Hogue, he just got a podium. Cody Ford, hard-working kid, good head on his shoulders, got a podium. And Alan Myers,
he's chomping at the bit, I bet.
He looks the part of a guy that, even this last weekend, he was putting in another really good ride, and he looks the part of a guy that can be up there and mix it up with the big boys. And you can tell in his riding that mentally he knows he's there.
Yeah, he's not afraid to ride with those faster guys.
Absolutely.
He thinks he belongs.
Absolutely. So after the weekend is said and done, so like I said, the drama, and all the craziness of the top 2, was a headliner. And the other headliner, I think, for me, obviously, was Brandon Hogue, being another rookie on the podium there. So after the weekend, Chad has a 22-point lead, and I think that he's totally comfortable with that.
Yep.
You always have the people that say, oh, well, he's got it in the bag because he can finish second in every race for the rest of the year. But mathematically speaking, yeah, he'd win the championship if he got second for every race for the rest of the year. But there's a lot of guys that are moving really well. I mentioned it in the last podcast, but Thomas Brown is riding the best of his career. And now you got a handful of guys. Brandon Hogue showed that he can mix it up with the top guys for a whole duration of a whole weekend. He did it. And then the other guys in that rookie class are riding pretty damn well too.
And we're going to RedBud, some sand. Jeffrey likes the sand.
Absolutely. Yeah, so RedBud is next. And
the points race between them two, Jeffrey and Thomas, is close. Jeffrey's only 4 points out of third.
Oh, he's that, well, yeah, because I was going to say in my mind, Thomas has been riding so well, but he's also had some DNFs. He had 2 DNFs in the last 4 motos. So
he's going to be riding super hard, I think. So I wouldn't be surprised to see win seconds out of him.
And so if you focus on the top 2 for a second, in my mind, RedBud is kind of a toss-up because I know for a fact that RedBud is Chad's favorite track, and he loves when stuff gets rough, and he loves the sand. The rougher the better for him. But in my mind, I know that Joel has had some really spectacular rides there too.
Yeah, you can't count him out on any track, honestly. I wouldn't, because if he gets the whole shot, and say Chad comes out in 5th. Them first 3 laps that Joel puts in are heaters, and by that time it's too late.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. It's got to be pretty much a toss-up between those 2 there. And you got to remember, Thomas won there last year. There was a little mud involved, but Thomas won the overall at RedBud last year.
So he's going to be trying to go for a repeat.
Well, you know what it's like when you return to a track that you have good vibes at.
Yeah, you want to go back and leave the way you came.
Well, even a track that you're comfortable on, you kind of have a mental image of what lines work, what lines don't normally work, or later in the day, you just have good vibes. You're like, I know the feeling, so do you. So do you. When you have good memories and stuff at a racetrack, it's almost like you step off the truck with momentum.
Yeah, with some mojo. You're already in a flow.
And Thomas is kind of like a feisty dude. So I think when he had a really good ride in Moto 1, and Moto 2 has that DNF, I think that he's going to come out like a caged animal, especially with this longer break. It probably couldn't have came at a worse time for him.
Yeah, I bet you he's chomping at the bit to get back on the track and race. So it's going to be good racing at RedBud. I just want to see good battles. Throughout the pack. Yeah,
I think so too. It'll be exciting. It'll be interesting because RedBud is RedBud, but they changed up some stuff. So it's a little bit different before Larocco's. The start is different. So you kind of come in straight into what would have been the second corner before that kind of sweeping left isn't there anymore. It's more of a traditional into a corner, out of a corner deal. And there's some long S's there before the ski jump, but I'm curious to see maybe if they put like some inside rollers there for the ATVs, something to make it not one-lined. I'll be interested to see how that little change kind of pans out for the quads. But I was there this past weekend for the Pro National Dirt Bike race. And even from listening to the riders after the fact, I know that the promoter doesn't admit to adding sand to the track, but the riders still swear that it's sandier than ever before.
Oh, it looks sandy. I don't know how you could lie and say it's not.
And the thing is sand isn't natural to that track. It's not natural to that area. The first year I raced at RedBud was 2005, and in 2005 the whole track was blue grooved. So
really?
All of that sand is brought in. It's not natural. So it's not like it's coming up from the ground.
Yeah.
So the big thing for people that don't know was in the Motocross of Nations last fall that was at RedBud, the riders got there and they're like, this track isn't even the same RedBud. It's so sandy. It's like a straight up sand track. Well, I went there this weekend and it looked like RedBud, but you can tell it's sandier than even I remember it from recent years. So I'm curious to see how that all plays out. But like you said, Chad loves the sand. Jeffrey loves the sand. I'm curious to see how that impacts the racing.
Yeah, that'll be close racing for sure. And is this other than Daytona, is this the first national track this season where that's like majority of sand?
Well, I think that there's places at the Texas track that are sandy. Like, actually, Texas reminds me of RedBud to a point.
Bigger.
To a point, it's got like a hard base, but there's sand on top, but it's not endless. And that's kind of the same at RedBud. I mean, that there's sections that would still get blue groove to this day, but that's because all the sand would get pushed out to the outside. It is like we don't have true sand tracks like we used to.
They got rid of Millville.
And at Chicani.
So.
But so I'm really curious to see kind of who that tends to favor, and I'm really curious just to see how the track kind of develops. See if it ends up being the same old RedBud, but it's going to be rough. It's going to be gnarly.
Yep.
And I mean that's what I like. That's what I like personally, and I know that that's what some of them riders. I think that I know that that's what Chad likes. Jeffrey's a guy that comes from the sand. I picture Thomas as a guy that does good when the track is gnarly. Yep. So we'll see how those guys kind of respond to it. We'll see how the rookie class responds to it, and man, it'll be interesting to see what happens there at RedBud.
Oh yeah, and you got the live show going on, so it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. We mentioned the live show a little earlier in the intro, but yeah, it's going to be a really good time. The Team USA boys, hopefully we have all of them. It sounds like we should. It's going to be Friday night, like I mentioned earlier, Friday night, and it's going to be unlike anything before. So I don't think that people are going to want to miss it. Like I said, you can come watch it in person. It'll be live on Facebook. And if you don't catch either of those, or if you want to enjoy it again, it'll be dropped as a podcast after the weekend. So, really looking forward to it. Need to plug SSI Decals again. They came on board and helped sponsor the live show, helped us acquire all the equipment that we needed for it. So, huge thanks to Ian and SSI Decals. Really looking forward to the live show, and man, I'm hoping if we're lucky, Hammy will join us there. So we'll see what happens.
I'm gonna try to make it happen. I don't know if I got to work yet or not, but I'll find that out Friday. So you got a last minute decision.
Yeah. So since we're not gonna have you there for the live show, for sure. Give us your bold. You got any bold predictions? What do you see happening at RedBud?
I'm going Joel Hetrick, Chad Wienen, Thomas Brown.
Okay.
Top three.
Okay. So the top three maybe is kind of
as a usual podium. I think this is going to show who likes the rough tracks, who's in shape. It's going to be hot, I bet.
Okay. Now I'll ask you maybe a little tougher question. Top rookie.
I'll have to go with. I'm gonna have to go with Brandon Hogue.
Okay.
Just because I have a hunch. I feel like he's training with Joel Hetrick from what I've seen on social media, and just how he rode at Unadilla. He rode really good. He's gonna have some momentum going, and if he's staying with Joel, I can imagine that they're training, riding every day. And that only helps. So I guess I have to go with him.
Okay. I think I'm not saying that I would – if I had to bet my house on it, I don't know who I would choose.
I'm not betting on anyone for a house.
You know what? I think that Alan Myers will be good, though.
I wanted to say that, too, because I feel like the track that he trains at's got a little sand.
I was just going to say, I feel like on that kind of track, being a bigger, longer-bodied guy, I just picture him being good on that style of racetrack. And I think, same thing, he, like all of us, saw the two rookies grab podiums. I feel like he's just going to be really, really hard-pressed to try to get up there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be whoever gets the best start, whoever puts themselves in the best position early in the race.
Yeah.
And that's how it seems to go. But whoever gets the most consistent starts, RedBud's a lot easier track to pass at. But
absolutely, because RedBud, you can make up time late in the race by being
faster than whoops.
Well, or by just kind of keeping that pace from the beginning. If you can get close to that pace that you have in the beginning laps later in the race, man, you can make hay while the sun shines for sure. Like people fall off. People fall off at RedBud, no doubt about it. That's a man's track. So it'll be. I'm curious. I think that's as intriguing as what happens at the front is kind of what happens in the middle there with that rookie class. I mean, Nick Janus is always tough. He's right there. Is Jeffrey going to be better on the kind of sandy track? It's like something's a little off with Jeff. You know, I think that it's just something's a little off. I can't put my finger on it. He's still riding well. He still looks good, but it's like there's just something a tick off.
Yeah, from the E-score and what I see, I just picture now like I want him to win. I think he's got it in him. So seeing him not on the podium, it's crazy to me.
I know. I don't know how many podiums he has. Maybe only one this year. No, he has two. He has two podiums.
He's underneath Mark Baldwin's tent, right? And that's that bike is like podium contender every time it rolls the gate.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I don't think that there's a better bike, you know.
No. Nope.
And I love Jeff, but
yeah,
I just for him. I'm just speaking as a spectator. It's like I just expected him to already have more podiums, maybe more seconds, maybe more wins or a win this year. I thought he was going to maybe take that step, you know.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, and especially I think was the second year with Baldwin or third year. So I thought they would be improving. They made a big switch with the shocks too. This is his first year not on PEPs.
Yep.
So that's surprising.
Yeah, from what I heard from people that are in Jeff's circle that are same as in my circle, that Jeffrey was really, really happy with the Elka shocks. So
that's good.
I'm biased as an Elka athlete, but I think that they're far superior, you know. And Elka is killing the game right now. I mean, they have a lot of top riders. They got a lot of that pro class. Those shocks work extremely well. Extremely well. Oh yeah, yeah. So I don't want it to come off like I'm dogging on Jeffrey at all. He's so talented.
We're not dogging him because we just want to see him do good. And,
absolutely,
absolutely,
100%. So I knew I'm pulling for him. I hope he can do something this weekend. And it's one of those things. We might have to ask him. We're hoping that he can join us on the live show because he was part of Team USA last year. He helped us win the title so in victory. So I hope that. I mean, that might be something we can ask him on the live show. Is there something going on behind the scenes, or is it just that the class is that fast? Or, I mean, sometimes it just happens. You don't get good starts at the right time. He was leading at Sunset Ridge and kind of got stuck in the mud, and you know what happens in a mud race. It's kind of after the first couple laps, it's hard to make a bunch of moves. So we'll see. He had some really good starts at Unadilla too. Some really good starts.
Top 3, right? In both of them?
Yeah, and I don't know that that's always the case for Jeffrey. So he had the starts he needed. And I said, I think going in on the last show, but Unadilla just isn't a track I think of for Jeffrey. I think of the sand tracks, the rough tracks. So we'll see. I think RedBud could be coming at just the right time for him. And I think that it'll be really interesting to see what happens. But now that we cover all these topics, I find myself watching all the riders way more than I ever did before when I was just watching and, watching who wins or watching the top three. Now I'm keeping tabs on every single rider because Nick Janusa is another guy.
Yeah.
Nick Janusa is another guy that, sleepy good ride in the second moto. He got stuck with Sammy Rowe at the beginning of the race, came all the way up, and before I knew it, he was in fifth place and got that 6.5, got fifth overall. And he's a guy that he has been fourth or fifth in every single championship of his pro career, which is a crazy stat. Crazy. Yeah. But and he's been fourth or fifth in every race this year, other than one.
He's right on the cusp.
But he's never had a podium. He has to just be.
You think it drives him crazy?
I'm sure
on the podium?
I'm sure that, because I know that Nick is a really hard worker. You can see it because he's in crazy good shape. He's a true athlete. And I'm sure that every second that he's in the gym, he's thinking about all those fourths. He's thinking about, because he's had top three in motos. He got top three at Unadilla last year in the second moto. He's been really close. I think he was really close at Daytona one year and got past late in the race, I think. But either way, that's another guy that I think that he does good when conditions are nasty, just
rougher.
because his fitness is top level.
He rides a lot of sand, like free riding sand tracks.
New Jersey sand. Yep, New Jersey sand for sure. So it'll be curious, but literally the whole pro class intrigues me right now.
Yeah, I wish I was out there and in shape.
Yeah.
Battling for top tens. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun.
But I'm cool on the couch watching.
And I think that the Pro-Am class has some talent that'll come up that'll add to that next year. This is a whole nother topic, but I'm curious to see if Bryce Ford will move up, because he looks like he could literally be plugged into the pro class right now and definitely hold his own, because he's in a class of his own right now against those Pro-Am guys. I think Stanfield was a close second, but he got hurt. He's battling through having a broken collarbone, and
he got a podium this weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, and he rode, man, you could tell he was hurting, and he rode his tail off. And because I believe what happened is they plated that thing, and when you do that, you're able to come back faster, but you haven't been riding, you probably feel fatigued or pain in that area of your body. And I think that if he would have stayed healthy, he was clearly the number 2 guy. He was the closest guy to Ford. Bryce, in the first, I always forget because he races both Pro-Am and Pro Sport, but all weekend, he got a whole shot in some races. He came from literally dead last out of the gate in other races. In every single moto of the 4, he found his way to the front and then checked out. And he's just got a whole nother gear. I don't even have I'm running out of superlatives to describe the kid, because he looks like Cody Gibson or Hetrick or one of those guys when they were in Pro-Am. He's just cut from a different cloth right now.
Yeah, I've never got to see him ride a 450 in person. And all I get is Instagram videos, and he definitely looks super crazy fast. I wish he'd just jump up to the pro class now.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens. I heard rumblings that because of his age, that they weren't going to move him up even yet next year. But with what he's doing in Pro-Am, I can't foresee.
You almost got to.
I can't foresee holding him back. I can't. But got to remember how young he is. He was on a 250 in the youth ranks last year. So
he's only 16 or 17?
I believe he's going to be 17. Yeah, because he moved up at RedBud last year. So, Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens, but it should be really interesting. I know Brogan Geyer got hurt, but I read that he was going to move up to the pro class, so that's another guy added to the list there. And I mean, I would assume that it's only a matter of time before Noah Mickelson moves up too. I thought that might have been this year, so I wouldn't be surprised if he did it next year.
When was the last time we had two groups of brothers in the pro class?
The Miller boys is the first one that comes to mind. Cody and
But
Hunter.
at the same time?
Yeah,
Ford
Cody.
What did you just say?
Cody and Hunter Miller, which was.
Well, then the Mickelson brothers, though. But at the same time, it'd be two sets of
brothers.
That's
two sets of brothers. Oh, two sets of brothers. Yeah. I don't know that you could come up with a time.
That'd be pretty wild. It's almost like teams within teams.
Yeah, I never thought about that. That'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see the two Ford brothers out there because they kind of modeled themselves after the Miller boys. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that'll be pretty sweet then.
Yeah, so
we gotta get to that.
Yeah, other than that, I don't know. Can't think of any brothers other than those ones that I named. Not of recent memory, anyway.
Yeah. I got a question. We didn't go over this. How was your weekend at Unadilla?
Man, it's hard to describe.
Tough one. I seen you got a little pop-up rainstorm, huh?
Yeah, I love Unadilla, dude. I love Unadilla. I always feel good there. I normally do well there. On Friday, I felt really good. I know that a couple people said I had the fastest lap time. I know that that Creamer's crew was claiming that he ended the day with the fastest lap time. Either way, we were battling back and forth for it. However it ended, I don't know. But yeah, felt really good on Friday. But towards the end of the day on Friday, I had a brand new race motor and fluke issue. It expired. So yeah, so I actually had to race my practice bike the rest of the weekend. So the trusty practice bike, like I still felt pretty good. Like was pretty confident. Mm-hmm. Get up to the gate Saturday for Moto 1 and before I even go there. So the the 25 plus class should have been called the past pro class this past weekend because it was stacked. There was 17 riders, Josh Creamer, Pelchat, me, Silas Lamons. Those are all past pros. Michael Allred, who's been really good all season, winning A-class races, and he's been winning. I think he won every race that I didn't win so far in the 25 plus class. So stacked racing in the 25 plus class, and people were talking about it all weekend how good the racing was going to be. I mean, everybody was talking about Creamer being there, and rightfully so as a past champion. Mm-hmm. So I knew things were going to be pretty tough. Like it's going to be the winner was going to earn it. And then I got up to the line for Moto 1, and it got made tougher for me. Of 17 dudes, I had dead last gate pick for the second year in a row at Unadilla. So they obviously have a vendetta out for me there or something. Mm-hmm. And at Unadilla, like having a bad gate pick is an actual real disadvantage there. Not at some tracks where
like a straight 90, right?
Exactly. Not at some races where you can hold your own, but and it was like. Even in my mind, like going into the weekend, I'm like, well, last year I had last gate pick in the first moto. Like this year, it can only be better. Yeah, well, no, it was. I think last year I had 16th. This year I had 17th. So, so I knew it was going to be tough. So, like, really in my mind, I'm thinking just get through the first corner and then go from there because, I mean. Something happening in the first corner can ruin your whole season if it's an injury. So yeah, I got through the first corner, I knew I had to get a good start. Like there was no doubt in my mind because otherwise I was going to be buried and in the carnage.
Eating
So
rocks.
so I got a decent start. I was probably about mid-pack, I would say, and which I was pretty good with because there was people that said like my jump off the line was crazy. I was just so far outside. Like when I looked over, I didn't see anybody except for the dudes on the very inside. And so then a couple corners in, like before you go to the bridge there, like underneath the bridge on the first lap, there was a pile up there. So dudes are cartwheeling. There's bodies and quads all over the racetrack. Like I see Creamer shoot off the side of the track. A couple other guys are racing around the double jump there. And I was gonna try to stay on the track, obviously at all costs. I'm coming up to the double, and all of a sudden, like a body goes rolling right in front of me.
What?
And I think it might have been Richard Pelchat. And
Really?
so I instantly veer off the left side so I don't hit him. I hit the face, I jump off the side of the track. I get back on, and now I'm like after all this carnage, I'm mid-pack again. And I see like with the gate pick thing, like all the other top guys had good gate picks. So I see all of them in front of me. And so I just like didn't even think about it. I just started passing as many people as I could wherever I could. And before I knew it, I was in third, I think by the second or third lap. I think the third lap I was into third. And I was behind Allred and Creamer. And I was a ways back from them at the time because, they were out in clean air. I saw Creamer make the pass on Allred, and then he, I think basically right away broke his axle.
Oh.
Yeah, so then Allred was leading, and I was in second, and was just rode it in from there. I was super pumped about that because after the last gate pick, I got up to second. Now I control my own destiny. I'm like, man, I win this thing. I win the overall. I'm right where I need to be. I dodged a bullet with last gate pick, and I had made some really good passes in some inside corners. And I felt like I could put my quad wherever I wanted. My CST tires, I'm telling you, CST tires at a track like Unadilla where it's hard packed, you can put the machine wherever you want and there's traction. So I'm thinking it doesn't matter in the second moto. I'm confident. I was totally confident going into the second moto. Felt like a caged animal pretty much all Sunday morning, like waiting to get the show on the road.
Yeah.
And we get up to the gate, and I pick my gate or whatever. We're on the line, got my gate prepped, throw my goggles on. The white flag comes out on the race before us. Pour down rain.
See, I thought that happened on the first moto, so that's second moto that happens. I was listening live, and I heard.
Pour down rain, like hard. And Unadilla's like concrete. It's coming down as hard as it can rain. So it's like all
slide out there.
All standing water. And so it was tough. I didn't get the start that I needed. So I started maybe like fifth or sixth. Creamer got the whole shot. Allred was in second. I got up to third, but by the time I got up to third, I had already went through all 21 of my tear-offs. And I was pretty much just in survival mode. In Moto 1, I felt like I got up to second and bought myself an opportunity for Moto 2, and then where I'd control my own destiny. And then when I got to Moto 2, the track wasn't racy, and I blew it by not getting a good enough start. I just couldn't make it happen. So. Yeah, that stunk. Because if it would have been dry, like I said, I felt like I had the speed, and I felt like I had a cheat code with having the CST tires, and that was tough. So 2-3 gave me second overall, and basically, like you know how it is this time of year, like you don't know how to factor in throwouts because we get 2 throwouts at the end of the year.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you factor in 1 throwout, I'm 2 points down from the championship. Otherwise, if you factor 2 throwouts in with 2 races left, Allred and I are tied. So no matter how you figure it, the best guy the last 2 races is going to win a national championship. And I said this as part of my media stuff this week, but as an athlete, this is like what the opportunity you wait for, you know, like this is what it's all about. This is what makes it exciting, and all you ever want is a chance. And so that's kind of where we find ourselves. It should be really exciting, and you always think about hitting the shot in Game 7 or hitting the shot in Game 6 to earn a Game 7, and like that's kind of where we're at. So we're headed into some of my favorite tracks. RedBud is my favorite track on the circuit, and man, the rougher, the nastier, the better for me. And yeah, so it wasn't terrible. Second overall, with the weather, with last gate pick on the practice bike. It could have been worse, you know. I mean,
yeah.
I was so bummed. With the way it went with the way it played out. But then at the end of the day, I was like, you know what?
Could have went a lot worse.
Second is a good points day, and that was the first time I didn't win this season when I didn't break or at Muddy Creek I stalled it. Just putting pressure on, and Allred won at Unadilla, and he earned it, and he rode well. He's been riding good all year, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to down the stretch here. It's really exciting. I have a lot of fun racing him. He's a good kid, good guy, and good rider. That's what Creamer said to me, that it was just a lot of fun racing that class. So a lot of fun, but yeah, I felt like I left one on the table because my speed was real good, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. I just wish
bring it on to RedBud.
Yeah, bring it on to RedBud. So should be good. Really looking forward to it. And like you said, the live show and so much cool things happening at RedBud. That's a close one for me, and just love that track. Love the vibe there. And after being there this past weekend for the dirt bike race,
I'm jealous.
All I could think about all weekend was, man, I'm like salivating to get on this track right now, you know?
Right.
Just looks so darn good, and just can't wait.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know they're going to have that thing rolled and sealed, and it's going to be primo.
Should be killer. Can't wait.
The best of episode 3 is yet to come, but let's take a break to hear a word from our sponsors.
First and foremost, a huge thank you to CST Tires, CSTTires.com, for coming on as the title sponsor. The Pulse MXR tire, available in soft and standard compounds, offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics. Of the countless riders I've turned on to CST tires, not a single one has been disappointed. Join the takeover and upgrade to CST today.
Thank you, SSI Decals, for your support and presenting sponsorship of the live show. An offshoot of their parent company that was established in 1947, SSI first took shape from owner Ian Harris's passion for ATVs. After making number plates and decals for riders like Chad Wienen, the brand quickly took off. Today, you couldn't imagine ATV motocross without SSI decals. The graphics maker now supports all the top teams in ATV motocross, as well as GNCC, Work Series, Pro Motocross and Supercross, Canadian Pro Motocross, short course off-road trucks, UTVs, snowcross, and NHRA 6-time world champion Clay Milliken. No project is too big or too small for SSI. Making your identity sick with championship-level graphics. SSI Decals.
Our featured guest is brought to you by DID Racing Chain and their 520 ATV2 X-Ring chain. This patented X-Ring racing chain boasts a steel alloy construction for reduced weight, increased strength, and a longer overall chain life, setting the standard and making it the optimal ATV racing chain. Pick out the ATV2 chain at your local dealer or wherever DID chains are sold. Wherever you go, go DID. We are also supported by Evans Waterless Powersports Coolant. Our Sight Lap intro segment is brought to you by Evans. The best powersports coolant on the market, Evans Coolant prevents boil over so you never have to pull over or worry about your engine no matter what the condition. Designed for use in ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles, and more. Use what the pros use. Choose Evans today. The Digging Deep ATVMX podcast is also sponsored by DP Brakes. DP has been dominating the ATV world for a while now by supporting riders like Joel Hetrick, Jeffrey Rastrelli, Nick Janusa, Baldwin Motorsports, JB Racing, Root River, myself, and more in ATV motocross. In GNCC Racing, they have all of the top 15 XC1 pros using DP, including the likes of Walker Fowler, Jared McClure, Chris Borich, Bryson Neal, Cole Richardson, and more, not to mention Hunter Hart and the top 4 XC2 riders. These riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer, products that ultimately help place them consistently on the top of the podium. Available at dp-brakes.com, purchase at your local dealer, or even message me for their contact info today. What are you waiting for? Join the best ATV riders in the world on DP Brakes.
Forworks Carbon's innovative lightweight products include top-notch seat covers, carbon fiber and plastic hoods, tank covers, exhaust shields, shock guards, and much more. Whether you have an ATV, UTV, or snowmobile, Forworks has goodies that'll make you salivate. I trust Forworks for increased function and a sexier look. Forworks Carbon, always working hard to bring high-quality, innovative parts to the market. Check them out today.
Finally, our fan question segment is brought to you by 100% and their new Armega goggle out now. Thanks to those guys for the support and supplying us with awesome 100% giveaways. Not to mention the new goggle that is setting the standard in moto. Now back to the show.
Another question. You ever thought about doing a rant on this show?
Oh, like some other podcasts?
Yeah, they kind of like have a little bit of a complaint about a certain thing or what's going on at the races or at a particular race. You ever thought about doing that?
Well, I never want to be negative, you know? So I don't know that I would ever do a full-time rant. But if you want a rant, I'll give you one.
Yeah. Let's hear it. I want to hear some of this.
My biggest rant?
Yeah.
My biggest rant of this sport, or of sports in general, is parents getting on their children to the point that they take the fun away from the sport.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I cannot stand that. Like, now it's different if your kid isn't trying, okay? But for the most part, the kid is doing his very best, and you still see parents yelling at their kids, cussing at your kids, saying mean things to their kids, when for the most part, that kid is doing the very best that he possibly can. So unless your kid is not trying,
or he's out partying or doing something stupid,
I don't think it's okay. Or I'm even talking about kids younger than that. Like, I'm all about positive reinforcement. So you build somebody up and then you put them out to war.
Yeah.
But the whole, okay, you were a top level athlete yourself. And when things are good, when the vibes are good, when there's positivity, when people are lifting you up, that's when you're going to be your very best.
Yeah,
if I scream at you, that's not going to bring out the best in you. Maybe it does. Maybe it does for 1% of people, but most people are not cut out that way. And normally you will find the most success when you're having fun or you're happy.
Yeah, I agree with that also.
And I think the problem is that some of these parents, and I don't want to accuse anybody of trying to live through their kids, but
that's what
let this be fun for your children. Like, we all do this. Every single one of us, from Chad Weenan to Joel Hetrick all the way down to the 50 riders. We do this because we enjoy it. We do this because we love it. And your kid will never thrive on a negative environment. And your kid is not going to thrive on you yelling at him. So if you want to rant, that is my rant. But I just wish sometimes, and I don't say it to people because it's not my place. I never want to overstep my boundaries, and I get that every situation is a little bit different. I mean, I know people can have an attitude. I know that maybe some people don't work as hard as they should, but a lot of times the effort is there, and it's not as easy as it may look, you know.
Along with that, Rand, I think some parents want to compete with other parents.
I was just going to say, and I wanted to.
Kids getting beat by another kid, and their parents or friends or not friends. They just want to one up them. They want to be
right.
The alpha.
And if you want to bring up the parents a little bit more, and I had this conversation with somebody recently at the last race asking for help with their kid. A lot of parents, if they're having this kind of problem, they want to be at the races almost more than their kid does.
Yeah.
So they can't even use, hey, we're going to skip this race or whatever as a motivation tactic
or anything,
or as a punishment, but a motivation tactic because they want to be there more than the kid. And I know when I was a child, not only all I wanted to do was be at the races, and it broke my heart when we had to miss races because we didn't have the funds to be able to go to the faraway races. And I saw all the kids that I raced against be able to do it, and riders that didn't beat me, but they still had the opportunity to go to the races. It broke my heart. All I wanted to do was be at the races and race my ATV. And so I can't relate to the attitude, to the maybe lack of motivation, to any of that stuff, but some kids might do better by their parents
taking
saying,
a step back.
Right. Yep. But my biggest part, and I just want to make sure that the punch is there for the rant, is please do not take away the fun for your kid. Whether it's a hobby, whether all he's ever going to be is a C-class or a B-class rider, which is perfectly fine, or he's going to be a pro, you will be the most successful if you keep the fun in it. And I wish somebody would have told me in the middle of my pro career to find a way to have more fun, because I would have had more success. And I'm still doing it now, and I'm scared to death of losing the opportunity to be at the races someday because I love it so damn much.
Yeah.
I just love to be at the races, and I love doing this because I love talking ATV racing, and it's what I've done my whole life, and it's what I love to do, and I want all these kids to have the opportunity to enjoy it as much as I enjoy it, and it breaks my heart, whether it's at a local track or whether it's T-ball or little league something.
Yeah, baseball, basketball.
Don't take the fun out of it for your kids.
Yeah,
that's overstepping the line. So there's my rant.
That's a good rant.
I don't know that you'll ever get a rant out of me again. You can probably ask me a rant every time. Yeah, I'm sure I can come up with something, but that's my biggest rant, and I guess that's maybe why it came exploding out of me, is I've never had the avenue to be able to kind of voice my opinion before. And ATV motocross is about it's about family, it's about having fun, and I just don't want to ever see that ruined for a kid, for a person, because it was never that way for me.
Yeah, and even if the kid's not doing like what the parent thinks they should be doing, I mean, they're young. I mean, you can blossom into the next pro rider,
As long as the
maturity happens, things change, you get bigger, you get stronger. I mean,
as long as the effort is there,
improvement will come.
First or last, as long as the effort is there, that's all that matters to me. And I teach riding schools, and I work with kids, and everybody's on a different trajectory. And as long as the effort is there, that's all that matters. And as long as they're having fun, they're going to be the most successful. So I challenge the parents, the family, the trainer, the whoever. Make it fun for your kid. Make it fun for your rider. And that's where they're going to be the most successful.
That's good. Hell yeah, we got to do more rants.
You start coming up with rants, and I'm sure I can give you my passion, man.
I need to be at the races so I can see some stuff. I could come up with a couple rants, I bet.
Yeah, live show. You're going to be there.
Maybe.
You got anything else, man, before we let you go?
Yeah. How long have the pros been doing autograph sessions together? When did they start that?
That started last year, so my first year out of the pro class. So yeah, I was never a part of that. But I'm curious to see what that's like, because I really like them coming up to my rig and kind of that.
Yeah,
I don't know
that too.
I've never experienced the whole all the pros together in one place signing autographs. I think they do it at like the Live to Ride thing.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty sure.
Sense.
And which is awesome for Debbie and Live to Ride. But I got so much one-on-one time with them when they'd come up to my pit that's what I probably enjoyed as much as anything, was getting to hear their stories. And the reason why I have a podcast is I like to bench race. I like to talk racing with people, and that's what we would do. So I'm just
talk about the track, how they did.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I'm curious I wonder if it's still that same vibe,
Or like a cafeteria line. Like
exactly. You don't want to just, here's
going.
my autograph, and they keep going. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but was my question when they first started doing that. Like I said, I'm sure there's good motive there, and it's awesome for the people involved. I loved the one-on-one time that I got with my fans when they'd come up to my rig for the autograph sessions. I just I'll cherish those memories forever, for sure.
Yeah, I always look forward to that, getting done with the moto and signing autographs. That was fun.
Yeah, definitely.
That, especially when you did good too, because if you weren't,
sure.
in the back of the pack or getting lapped, and they knew, Tyler Hamrick was in the top 10, they noticed you, so that was always cool.
Yeah, we're coming off of Unadilla right now, and Unadilla's fans are crazy. They're amazing. They're some of the best ones, I think, in our sport. And I had some of my very best rides. My best finish ever was at Unadilla, and man, I felt like the line would never stop. 2 different times I ran out of posters there because there were so many fans, and it seems like I had so many fans out there. It was awesome. Unadilla's fans were next level.
Yeah, they get crazy out there. A lot of outside people come to that race too, like just to spectate.
Well, you have
the track.
Yeah, and you have Canada, and you have the NEATV series, and that's not that far from Ohio, and Ohio has a big ATV, following, and so does Pennsylvania, and so you pull a lot of different riders, different spectators, different fans, and I think that that's where kind of some of that comes from. But yeah, so I've never been a part of the all together autograph signing before. I'm
sure it's cool. Maybe to help out fans locate the riders. Now they're all in one spot. You don't have to go trailer searching.
I wonder if it impacts the relationship with the riders. I wonder if they're like maybe a little more buddy than they used to be, because you're rubbing shoulders with guys maybe more than you used to.
Yeah, I think back when I was racing, the top 2 dudes, they were not so friendly.
Right.
I couldn't imagine them doing an autograph signing together.
Right, yeah.
So that's cool.
Maybe they sit at the other ends of the table from each other.
Man.
Well, you got anything else, man?
No, I think that's it. I think I'm ready to send you off to RedBud. Maybe you'll see me there. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I love talking racing.
Yeah.
And hopefully we see more good racing and maybe more rookies on the podium. But
I hope so, man. We seems like the ATV world, we got a million things to talk about right now, which is awesome. And I really appreciate you coming on, giving your insight. It's a lot of fun to talk racing with you, buddy. We appreciate your time, and yeah, man, we'd love to have you at the live show. It'd be a lot of fun. So pull some strings and make it happen, man.
I'm going to do my best, so I'll keep you in the loop, and I'll let you know if I'm Michigan bound or not.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. Thanks again for coming on. I know that a lot of our listeners really enjoyed having you on last time, and it's been a lot of fun. So can't thank you enough for your time.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
All right.
I'll be talking to you.
All right. Thanks, Hammy. We'll have you on again soon.
So that was Tyler Hamrick, everybody. I appreciate him giving us his time and his insight. I know he enjoys ATV motocross bench racing with us. So, yeah, friend of the show. Thanks for coming on to him. And we're going to transition here right into our rider interview with up-and-coming star Logan Stanfield. He's one of my favorite riders in the sport right now, and somebody you're going to hear a lot of here in the future. So he's going to talk about his season so far, kind of look forward to the future, and yeah, was really excited to get this interview going, and I think this is going to be a kid that you're going to want to cheer for here in the future. Brought to you by DID's 520 ATV2 X-Ring chain, we welcome 5-time national champion Logan Stanfield to the show. What's going on, buddy?
Not much.
Just, yeah, really appreciate you coming on. Really appreciate you giving us some of your time. I know you're probably out riding and doing laps today and training and stuff. So, yeah, really appreciate you coming on. So, yeah, let's just start by talking about your season real quick. I know you started the season by winning the first race, right? You won the opener in Pro-Am?
Yep. I won the Mudder. I wouldn't say I did the best there, but I had two pretty good solid motos, and I put them together, and it got me in the middle of the box. So I was very happy to start the season off.
And then, yeah, that's awesome. That was a tough one down there for sure in the mud. And then you had a couple more podiums after that, right?
Yeah, I got a second at Ironman, and then I got a first at South of the Border.
Oh, you did win South of the Border.
Well, I guess that was like a confusing weekend. I guess I got a second overall now. It was changed after the race.
Okay, yeah, because I was curious. I didn't know what was all going on with that. And when I was prepping even for this segment, I went back and looked, and I'm like, I was pretty sure he won that. So there must have been more to that story. So either way, you had a super, super good start to the season, and you were leading the points after those 3 races or whatever, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So then kind of take us through what happened after that. You got hurt.
Yeah, we were getting ready for Muddy Creek, and I think it was like 2 or 3 days before the race. We were training, and I made a little mistake on my own, and I went over the bars. I broke my collarbone in 2 places. I had to get surgery. I got a plate and 9 screws.
Oh, wow. So was like right after it happened, did you guys kind of know that you were gonna have surgery and you were gonna plate it? Was that a decision that you kind of made right away?
Yeah, I went to the hospital. I mean, right after my wreck, of course, and I got X-rays and stuff. We weren't really sure how bad it was, but I knew it was broke because I could see it through my skin almost. So.
Yeah. Yep.
But
go ahead.
But the collarbone, sometimes they just let it heal in place, and we were gonna hopefully just get it's called a Sonoma rod and put it through there, and I was gonna be good to go in about a week or so, but it was not possible to do since how my bone was broke.
Okay. Well, sometimes getting it plated isn't the worst thing as an athlete because it almost allows you to come back faster, correct?
Correct. That's what we were hoping. We were definitely probably going to do surgery to get me back out there quicker.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. That's what I was kind of following along on social media, hoping I was going to see that you were going to plate it to get back out there because you had such a strong start to the season. It was such a shame to see that happen. So then you missed 1 race, right? You missed 1 race?
Yep, I missed Muddy Creek, and then I went to Sunset. I wasn't even supposed to ride or do anything. I wasn't to the doctor yet to be released, and I went out there the first moto, just kind of trying to like stay in the points a little bit,
Yeah. Yep.
And I ended up racing a little bit at the end of the second moto because I was feeling really good, and then we went to Unadilla, and I didn't ride at all between my wreck and Unadilla, and I went in there and I practiced Friday, felt really good. And then I rode Sunday morning I wrecked. So, I was just kind of thinking, what am I going to do? And then I came out got last in the whole shot. I got bumped out in the corner. I made some passes pretty quick. I was just excited to be out there. My adrenaline was pumping again.
Of course,
And I
yeah.
got to fourth, I believe, and then second moto I got another fourth, and I got a third overall at Unadilla.
Yeah, so I knew so taking it back a little bit, at Walnut or at Sunset Ridge, I saw you like spinning laps in the first moto, just looking for points. And then in the second moto, yeah, I knew you must have been feeling okay because you were definitely racier. Like you definitely had totally upped your pace. So you could just see like the competitive nature coming out in you for sure. I mean, at least, and now you're kind of confirming that. So yeah, that was going to be one of my questions was how much training were you actually able to do between Sunset and Unadilla? And you're saying that you weren't really able to do much riding, huh?
No, I did. I actually did probably about 5 laps. I went to a local track by me like the day before I went out for Unadilla, and I just try to get comfortable again, get the feeling again, and I just loaded up and went there.
So you were almost kind of just giving your body a test run, like if you could how hard you could ride, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was just trying to feel it out.
Yeah. So then, yeah, Unadilla. I thought you looked really good, and you were definitely like the races weren't easy. You were having to fight for position, like you said. You had a bad hole shot. Was that the first moto? You had a bad hole shot in the first moto, right?
Yeah, I was literally dead last.
Yeah, and you fought your way. What place did you say you finished in that moto? 4th or 5th, right?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I got 4th.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought because I knew you had battled your whole way through, and I watched you cross the finish line, and like you could tell you were hurting, and I didn't know if that was your collarbone hurting or if that was just, a long tough moto when you haven't been busting out laps.
It was a little bit of everything. My back was sore from the wreck earlier that morning.
Oh yeah.
And actually my other shoulder was hurting from the wreck. So I actually hit on my right side that time, but I'm lucky I did.
Yeah, probably lucky. Yeah.
I was just pretty beat down because most of the time I've always been good at hole shots. I get out front and I get to ride my race, and
yeah, yep.
I didn't get to do that, so I was kind of stressed out throughout the race. And even though I shouldn't have been, I was out there to have fun.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Just how I am.
So when you had that problem in morning practice, were you like worried you like weren't even going to get to race or something? Like, did you think that for a split second?
A little bit. I messed my bike up pretty good.
I saw it. I saw a picture of it. I saw a picture of it like in the fence or something.
Yeah, I came down to that bull corner and I was just trying to put a hot lap down, and it just hooked and catapulted me the other way, and I bent my steering stem, my bumper, ripped my plastics up pretty good. My grab bar was all messed up.
Wow. So how did you were lucky to dodge that bullet there. And then in the second moto, you got a better start, right? You were right up front, I thought, on the start.
Yeah, I pulled the whole shot and I led for about a lap.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And it was nice leading again, but I didn't want to run that pace because I knew I was going to get tired. I had 15 minutes ahead of me, so
yeah, you almost wanted to settle into your pace just so you could ride a consistent race basically and not burn out.
Right, and I really wasn't worried about winning. My goal going in the weekend was for a top 5, and I pushed a little, as hard as I could, and I got on the podium, so I was very happy.
Yeah, it's funny because podiums and stuff aren't always evaluated equally. So sometimes, you'd be bummed with maybe a second or a third, but after all the stuff that you've been through and how hard you had to fight to get there, and not being able to be on the bike and all these things, like a podium had to feel like winning almost.
Right, like my third position podium at Unadilla felt better than my second one at Ironman.
I'm sure it did. Yeah, I'm sure it did. So how much pain did you actually have in the collarbone that you broke throughout the day there?
Not much really. I was pretty comfortable. I've been working out a little bit before getting my shoulder motion again and
Sure.
get
Yep.
everything feeling great.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it wasn't too bad, but it definitely left me some aches.
I'm sure. I'm sure there's no substitute for riding. So when you're out there and you're not going through your normal routine, that's can kind of shock your body. So now talk about since Unadilla, have you been able to kind of get back in your normal rhythm, like what you were doing prior to the injury?
Yeah, I've been back on my regular routine, riding, working out with Alan and Travis. We've been working really hard, and I've been working probably twice as hard that I normally do, trying to get myself back to where I was.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. So you mentioned Team 969 and riding with Alan and training with Travis. So talk about like how awesome of a deal that's been for you to be able to be with those guys and man, it just seems like all of you, Alan and you and everybody that's been on the team has been so successful. Talk about what an asset that team is for you.
It's huge. They picked me up in 2015 at the end of the year. They weren't really a team. It was just Alan and Travis, and me and Alan became really good friends throughout the year. And after Unadilla, I went home with Alan to New Jersey, and then we went to Tennessee, and I trained with them, and I probably rode the best I ever have, well, since before that, because I didn't train at all, and then
Right.
they brought me under their wing, and it really changed everything, and we had Zach Decker with us too, and he's going to be a top rider one day, I feel like.
Oh, for
He
sure.
has a lot of talent, and Alan has a lot of talent, and Travis, he just pushed us to another level. He knows, like, what gets under our skin. So it really like makes us want to go more.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like um, you've followed in Alan's footsteps. Like just it's almost like he's 1A and you're 1B kind of thing. And yeah, it's like Zach's doing the same thing. Like he's following in your footsteps. And it's almost like you don't see it in our sport a lot, but on the dirt bike world, you see all these top riders training together, and I can only imagine that you and Alan and Zach at the time and stuff like all riding together, pushing each other has to just continue to elevate each of your levels, correct?
Right. Alan will go put out a lap time. We still do this today, like today, me and Alan. He'll go put out a lap time, and we'll go out there and try to beat it every
Yeah,
time.
yeah, and yeah, that's a very tough thing to do if you don't have another fast person to ride with, because otherwise you're kind of just find yourself spinning laps at your own pace.
Right. You might feel fast, but until just like when we rode with Joel Hetrick in Florida, we
Okay.
felt great, and then he goes out there and kills our lap time, and you're like, what the heck,
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. So that's got to be um, just a great thing for you to have all those riders in your corner. And so RedBud is next, and that's kind of like a home race for you almost, right? With you coming from Indiana, and RedBud's just across the border in Michigan. So do you kind of consider that a home race?
Yeah, I would. When I lived in Indiana more, when they would have local races, I'd always go up there. It's like a hour and 45-minute drive from my house in Peru.
Okay.
So it's always nice to go, and it's a great facility to ride at. So, I mean, I would call it a home track, yes.
Yeah, so yeah, I think that's one of the best tracks on the circuit for sure. So, how are you feeling heading into that race over there? Are you like ready to get back on the top step of the podium now?
Yeah, that's my goal. I always feel pretty good there. Last year, I went into my first Pro-Am race there, and I actually got a podium. So I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, that's good vibes. Earlier in the episode here, we talked about when you show up at a track that you have good memories at, or maybe you had a good ride the season before, and how that can impact your race. And it's almost like when you return to a track where maybe where you just had success or you've had success in the past. It's almost like you have momentum before the weekend even starts. So yeah, hopefully that works out for you this weekend there, close to home. So you're kind of, are you even worried about the points at this time, or how does that look for you? Are you more just worried about trying to win races?
I'm just worried about getting myself ready for next year, honestly.
Okay.
I would like to win. I mean, that's the best thing in the world for me is I love winning.
Yep.
But I'm focused on next year more than this year, trying to prepare myself for the pro class
Okay.
and just get ready for that.
Yeah, so that was going to be my next question was if the plan was to still go pro next year and kind of follow what Alan's been doing, huh?
Yeah, I think we're gonna try to plan on running the Ironman at the end of the year if I get a bike built in
Oh,
time.
you are. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if that plan was maybe going to change because of the collarbone thing. Um, so you'll be on a Yamaha, correct?
Correct.
And have you already been riding one of those a little bit, or have you not dabbled in that yet?
Nope, I have only rode one time, and it was Alan's stock bike in
Okay.
Florida in February.
Okay. So yeah, so a little work ahead, but yeah, we'd love to see you make that transition to the pro class at Ironman, and I think that that's a really cool thing that that's a pro only event, and you'd be able to do that because it just kind of gives you like an idea of what next year's going to be like instead of just showing up at the first race and having never raced a pro race before.
Yes, that's what I totally agree with that. That's like what I did last year with Pro Am. I wanted to
Exactly.
get my feet wet and
Yep.
see what it was like. You know, I never got to run 13 or plus 2 or whatever. I don't know if it's 13 or 15, honestly.
Pro class, or pro am.
Pro Am.
Yeah, I think what is it, 13? Yeah, I think so.
I think it's a plus 2 laps. But
Yep.
I wanted to see what it was like running that long. You know, I practice that all the time, but practicing and racing are two
Totally.
different
Yeah,
things.
totally different. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that that's a really cool thing that you'll be able to do that. That's what I did when I turned pro. I moved up, actually at RedBud, but after I had wrapped up my A class championship. But yeah, that'll be really cool. Um, so that was, I got a million questions. Like I had told you before we started recording, I got a bunch of questions from the fans for you, and literally probably a quarter of them were like, what kind of quad you were going to ride, were you going to ride a Yamaha? So, and I got a bunch of questions about your hybrid. So talk about like how awesome those hybrids are, like because they sure look like a blast to ride.
They are. I mean, it's like a Porsche. It's like you're riding on a Porsche pretty much.
Yeah, it looks like it. They're so light and so they look like they accelerate so fast, the dirt bike engine compared to some of the ATV engines that just kind of looks like you can pretty much do whatever you want and you can really showcase your style. I mean, it looks so cool, looks so fun to ride.
They are. They're a blast. You know, I got the Walsh frame under me and the A arms and swing arms. It handles amazing, and Impact Solutions has got my shocks pretty much dialed in
Yeah.
pretty good, and you know I can handle anything on any track. I feel like, and I'm I've gotten so comfortable on that bike in just 2 years. It's crazy, and I can put the bike anywhere I want to.
Yeah, I think that's the true like testament to when you have a machine that works is you can kind of handle anything and it doesn't really feel like a curveball anymore. So that's definitely how it looks when you're riding it. And yeah, I'm excited. I just glad you're kind of getting back healthy and looking forward to seeing you hopefully up front at RedBud.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited to be back at RedBud and just be back racing overall.
Yeah. The sport is better with you. So before I let you go, I got a couple fan questions here, and so one of these fans is going to win some 100% goodies. But yeah, so let's ask you some of these questions from the fans. So Brandon Abel asks, where do you see yourself in 4 years?
4 years, that's a long ways away. I'm not really sure. I'd love to be racing pro ATV motocross, but I don't know. The sport struggles a lot sometimes, and I don't know. I don't know where I'll be. Hopefully racing, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of gonna kind of just wait and see. But
It's a
as long as you can be racing, you will be racing.
yeah, it's a curveball for sure.
Okay, so we got another one here from Eliza, and she asks, "What made you pick number 55?"
I was actually went to a fair race. You can see it from my house, and I went there, and I didn't know you needed a number plate to race because I didn't know anything about it. I was on a stock TRX 90, and we were just somewhere with our friends there, and he drew it on a paper plate, and it's just stuck ever since.
Isn't that funny how that happens? That's why I like asking people where they got their number from too, because a lot of times it's like it just happened, and some people don't even really have a true cool story as to how it happened.
Yeah, I mean, or like Allen and Brogan, Jeff Gordon.
Oh,
That's how they.
is that where that came from?
I'm pretty sure that's how they got their numbers.
So what do you think your buddy Brogan's gonna do when he goes to the pro class? What's he gonna do for a
I'm not.
number?
I'm not really sure. We were actually talking about that the other day, and he doesn't know what he wants to do.
Okay, I was wondering that myself because I knew Allen already had the 24, so I was curious to see what was gonna happen with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a few more. Justin Hoover asks, how have you overcome the mental challenges from previous injuries?
I wouldn't say I overcome them all the time. I'll be riding and I'll hear a little noise on my bike, and ever since I broke my back, it's just like
Oh
I
yeah.
I'm very like particular about my stuff now, and if I hear like my chain slap a little bit, I gotta go fix that and tighten it up.
Yeah, so
But
for people that don't know, you had something happen on the face of a jump, right? We were at Waldo. I was there at the time too.
yeah, my valve broke and went through my piston when I was going over that double in the back, and it locked up through the air.
Yeah, I remember that day like it was yesterday. Um, so yeah, nobody could blame you for kind of overthinking some of the noises of the bike and stuff there. Um, so yeah, you're right. Like you almost be careful as much as you can, but you also can't think about it too much, right? Because then it almost works against you.
Right. It almost like freaks me out sometimes. Like I'll be like just laying in bed and it'll just pop in my mind for some random reason. I was like, like why do I go back tomorrow? And sometimes I don't know. I just love doing it, and you have to focus on the good things in life and
And
what.
yeah, and for some people that don't know too, I mean, you were a really good high school athlete too. So talk about like how what is so much different about what we do with ATV motocross than maybe like a stick and ball sport with your teammates.
I like doing it on my own. I like depending on myself and not depending on other people. I played basketball, baseball, soccer throughout junior high and high school, and I actually had a college offer to go play soccer
That's what I
in
thought.
Michigan, and I would just rather be racing.
I think it's almost like the that pressure and that kind of nervousness and anticipation and being the one person that it kind of all depends on is like might be stressful for some people, but it's what we feed off of.
Right, I don't want to be depending on somebody else to win or lose a game when I'd rather just depend on myself from winning a race or making a mistake or something.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. So I got one last question here for you. It says, and it almost kind of, I guess it kind of ties into what we're talking about, but um, Jimmy D asks, do you still get nervous on the gate, and is it good to get nervous?
Some races I do, some races I don't. Some races I can sit there and almost fall asleep and be all right, and then some races I just have the jitters. And I think it's all right to be nervous. You're really aware of things when you're nervous. Your your actions are, I wouldn't say they're quicker, but they're you're like really on your toes for things,
Yeah,
I guess.
you're like hyper focused. Yeah, I think I always told people when I got asked that question, about being nervous and is it good for you is the day I don't get nervous is the day that I probably should quit because that means I don't care.
Right.
Because, people on the outside may not understand, but for people like you or I mean, this is what we eat, sleep, and breathe. So, like, yeah, you're probably going to be a little nervous. You're not nervous about being prepared. You know you're prepared, but everything you do in this life right now that you're living, like everything kind of depends on, or is at least focused on what you do when the gate drops.
Right. And you got yourself and however many other guys you got on the gate with, you going in that first corner. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what you're going to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And like I said, it's kind of that, that nervousness, that fear of the unknown, and that pressure, like I said, is probably uncomfortable for some people, but it's what we feed off of as competitors and as athletes.
Right. It's like a normal daily thing for us.
Yeah, it's that rush. It's that rush that you kind of we seek it in a healthy way, but that's what fuels us for sure. So yeah, so those are the fan questions. Do you have one that stands out that you like the most there?
Probably how I overcome my fears from like my injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I
So
have a lot of people ask me that all the time, and I really don't have a good answer for anybody because I really don't know how I do it. I just deal with it.
you kind of just take I don't want to speak for you here, but you kind of take the stuff you've been through and don't learn from it. You just kind of put it in your bag so you can take that growth and experiences and kind of try to, I don't know, be better prepared or, just kind of help that shape you into who you are,
Right. I try to build off of it.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. So cool. So Justin Hoover there's going to get some goodies from 100%. So yeah, Logan, again, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on. I think it's really cool because we haven't had anybody join the show yet that isn't a pro already. You're kind of the first person that's a up and coming rising star, and you're one of my favorite riders in the sport right now. So I really appreciate you coming on, and we're really pulling for you. I hope that you get that bike together for Ironman and you kind of get your feet wet because man, I think you were asked about where you were going to be 4 years from now. I could easily see you being a top 5 pro 4 years from now. So,
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm really appreciative that you asked me to be on the show, and it really does mean a lot to someone who isn't the top dog yet.
So yeah, we were grateful for your time, grateful to have you, and you're welcome back anytime. I really appreciate it, pal.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so much. Good luck at RedBud. Great interview there. Thanks again to Logan Stanfield for coming on. Thanks to Tyler Hamrick as well. Appreciate both of their times and for joining the show this week. I got to thank my producer Dallas and my graphic designer Taylor. Both of them put in countless hours for us. And so if you see them at RedBud this upcoming weekend for the live show, just thank them on behalf of the show. Thank them for all their time. And I said it in the last show. I'll say it again. They make me look and sound probably better even than I deserve right now, and better than the show even is right now. So thank you to those guys, just for all their effort in making my vision their vision at the same time. I couldn't do it without them. I can't even thank them enough. Thanks again to our sponsors: CST Tires, SSI Decals, DID Racing Chain, Evans Waterless Power Sports Coolant, Foreworks Carbon, DP Brakes, 100%, and Oats Overnight. Again, remember to support the brands that support us here. Without the support of these companies, it wouldn't be possible. And again, I just have to thank SSI Decals and plug them again for helping us get all the equipment we needed for the live show. Again, support the brands that support us. If you like our show and you want to see our show continue, support the brands that believe in us and show your appreciation. Most of all, thanks to you guys. Thanks to our listeners. All the messages, posts, kind words, all the support just makes it worth it for us. This is a really lot of work. It's something that a lot of us are spending a bunch of time on here behind the scenes, but again, all the kind words, all the support, all the people that are excited about it, it just makes it worth it. So we're going to continue to cover current racing throughout the end of the season here, and then as we transition into the off season, we'll do more full episode features like we did with Chad Wienen. We'll continue to dig deep with the stars of ATV motocross. I have tons of ideas and tons of interviews that I already have either done or I'm in the process of setting up with all kinds of people that you're definitely going to want to hear from. So we're going to continue to dig deep with the stars of ATV motocross as we look forward to the off season. But until then, I definitely want to cover as much current racing as we can because the series is so exciting right now. RedBud is next, and that's going to be an exciting round, but nothing's going to be more exciting than the live show. So like I said earlier, join us in one way or another for that. Super excited to feature Team USA. It's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us and the first of its kind. So really, really, really excited about that. Make sure you, like I said, either join us live, watch it live on our social media, or enjoy it later as a podcast. I'm going to probably do all of them. I don't know how, but I probably am. And then following our weekend at RedBud, Sean Taylor is going to join the show and talk everything RedBud, talk about the live show, talk about the racing. He's got a lot of ties to that pro class there still. He's a guy that I raced throughout my whole career, really, not even just the pro class. So really excited to have Shawnee T on. That'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, guys, that's it for episode 3. Remember to subscribe, like and share our posts, and tell us what you think. Give us a review, tell your friends, help us grow the show. I have big visions for this, and all the appreciation, all the support, it really makes it worth it. So again, this is episode 3. Episode 4 is going to come fast because that's going to be the live show. And episode 5 is going to be big too. Sean E.T. is going to join us. So really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. And we're going to continue to dig deep with the stars of the sport. Appreciate it, guys. Until next time, thanks for listening.